Hello my friends, my name is Don, and today I am back with another issue of Stormbringer magazine. This time we have issue number 10. This one came with Zandire's Truth Seekers. They are 4 models that make up a warband for Warhammer Underworlds. Some pretty models. I'm excited to get these ones fully painted up. As you can see, I've started, but I've still got some work to do, some cleanup, some touch-up. I barely did the bird at all. Alright, let's get right into it. Sigmar's Storm. Sigmar seeks nothing less than the liberation of every single one of the mortal realms. The leaders of this effort are the Stormcast Eternals. They are the blazing tip of the spear thrust into a world of darkness and corruption, sent to save all of the realms. The battle for the mortal realms is a colossal undertaking. All of the faithful must fight or they are certain to fail. The role of the Stormcast Eternals is to be the vanguard of this war. As a military force, they are able to accomplish in hours what would take an ordinary army years. They attack where the enemy is strongest and slay the tyrants who have ruled the realms in Sigmar's absence, leaving the forces of evil leaderless and reeling. Wherever the Stormcast Eternals go, they forge new alliances and restore ancient pacts. When the Stormcast Eternals fight, they are joined by long-oppressed mortals, vengeful Sylvaneth, mysterious elves, stalwart Duradin, and other former allies to Sigmar. Through incredible bravery, the Stormcasts inspire these allies to fight all the harder for civilization. Bravery and valor. The Stormcast Eternals lead by example. Each fights with incredible courage, and each faces death after anguishing death in order to free the realms. But through their sacrifice, they give hope to countless mortals who are fighting to survive. Bringing order to mayhem. From the deepest swamps to icy peaks, the Stormcast Eternals hunt the warriors of destruction in a fierce war for supremacy. Sigmar's soldiers must be relentless. They must seek their enemies in the most dangerous regions of the realms, braving extreme weather, arcane hazards, and incredible hardships before battle begins. Purging chaos. The Stormcast Eternals have a particular hatred for chaos, and will do whatever is necessary to purge the realms of corruption. The forces of chaos have many strongholds, ranging from scattered encampments of cultists to towering citadels ruled over by demonic lords. All must be destroyed if the realms are to be free. Conquering death. Even the afterlife is another battlefront in the Stormcast Eternals' realm-spanning war. The bravest warriors are sent to attack the kingdoms of the dead in order to protect the living. Sigmar's Chosen march to face hordes of shrieking spirits, nightmarish vampires, and entire empires of skeletal constructs. Zandire's Truth Seekers. Zandire's Truth Seekers are a band of questing Stormcast Eternals. Each is a warrior of incredible skill. Calthea Zandire commands her warriors in battle, and Doraz Giantfell smashes enemies with his huge hammer. Meanwhile, Luxa Stormrider lays down a hail of deadly arrows. Now we're going to roll a die to see why the Truth Seekers have joined our force. We have number 2. Zandire's Truth Seekers are investigating disappearances in Gur to see if they are connected to the disappearances in Ulgo. Questing warriors. Sigmar does not always use sheer force to accomplish his goals. Often, when subtlety is required, he will assemble champions into elite warbands. Zandire's Truth Seekers are one such band. They've been assembled not just to slay the foes of the God King, but to investigate a mysterious series of disappearances in Ulgu, the realm of shadows. Their search for truth has them traveling far and wide across the realms. Zandire's Truth Seekers are veteran warriors, and they tailor their tactics to best overcome their chosen enemies. Roll a die on the table below to find out what tactics Zandire's Truth Seekers are using in their latest quest, or choose the one you like the best. I'm going to go ahead and roll a die for that. Oop, off screen. It was a 3, that's what it was off screen anyway, so fate. On this campaign, Zandire's Truth Seekers will focus on outmaneuvering their enemies to strike them in their flanks. Character names. Each of Zandire's Truth Seekers is a hero in their own right. Their names are well known among the Stormcast Eternals, as are their deeds. So we don't have to roll for names this time around. They already have them, but we do have some great deeds that we can try to accomplish. We We have Unbroken, finish a game with every model in this unit still alive. Quest for treasure, capture an objective with this unit. Champions all, in one battle slay an enemy with each weapon in this unit. Then we have the how to build. Mine are already obviously built. I did sub-assemble all of them except for, what's his name, Doraz. I don't remember why, but I did glue him together. So they are already built. We'll go ahead and just quickly pan through that. I love a nice quick 2-page building guide. Then we have the painting guide. This one using Retributor Armor, Korax White, Cantor Blue, Leadbelcher, and Catachan Flesh. Starts with having everything in Retributor Armor. I primed all of mine with Retributor Armor, except for my Birdie. I did in a black, and then I did my usual heavy white Zenithal over the top, so that I can still have a little bit of shadows to guide me. Pretty straightforward in comparison to the previous Stormcasts. The gold goes on the armor bits, the blue goes on the cloth bits, the silver goes on the metal bits. And brown. Brown goes on the leather, the bags, some of the wood, and then the sheaths, or scabbards for the sword. And their final little gallery. Now we have A Basics 11, Units, Abilities, and War Scrolls. In Warhammer Age of Sigmar, each unit has its own strengths, weaknesses, and unique abilities. In A Basics 2, you learned how units work. In this guide, you'll learn about the abilities units can have, how companions work, and the special models you can find in some units, such as the Champion and Standard Bearer. Most units have abilities that make them unique and more powerful. A unit's abilities are listed on its War Scroll. Read your War Scrolls carefully to know what each of your units is capable of in battle. We have the Vindictor's War Scroll. So it's just showing off abilities. We have Stormsoul Arsenal, which automatically deals wounds on a hit roll of 6. In Zandire's Truthseekers, we have Companion and Blazing Arrows. A little bit more about Companions. Both of the main leaders for the 2 warbands so far have Companions. They basically work to extend the base of this of the main model. So even though the war boss is out of range, technically, because the Stabagrad is within range, he can make his attacks still. And then they move as normal there. Next, talking about champions and special models. As you have seen, most units are made up of the same kind of model, armed with the same kind of weapon. Many units also contain special models, and these models can have additional attacks or abilities. A lot of units contain a champion, which is the unit's best fighter. Champions often have an additional attack to represent their skill in battle. The Vindictor Prime, Gutrippa Boss, and Hobgrot Boss are all champions of their units. A War Scroll will tell you if that unit has a champion and what abilities that champion has. The Vindictor Prime is the champion of a unit of Vindictors, and she can make 3 attacks instead of 2. The Gutrippa Boss is the champion of the unit of Gutrippas, and he can make 3 attacks instead of 2. Next are Standard Bearers and Musicians. 2 other types of special models that many units have are Standard Bearers and Musicians. Standard Bearers carry a unit's banner or standard into battle, while Musicians carry instruments to inspire their fellow warriors. Many units contain a Standard Bearer, a Musician, or both. These models give the unit they're in additional abilities while they're alive. A War Scroll will tell you if a unit has a Standard Bearer or Musician, and what abilities those models have. If the Standard Bearer or the Musician is slain, the unit loses that ability. So it's a good idea to not place wound markers on those models early on. So here we have Zandire's Truthseekers. The War Scroll shows the 5 weapons that they have, the missile weapon as well as the 4 attacks, 1 for each model. For Zandire's Truthseekers, each model in the unit is armed with a different set of weapons. Additionally, they have a companion, which also has its own unique weapons. Attacking with a unit like this is explained below. Multiple weapons. A unit attacks with all the weapons the models in the unit are armed with. If a unit has multiple models all holding the same weapon, you can roll their attacks together. If a unit has multiple models holding different weapons, you roll the attacks for one weapon after the other. You can roll for these attacks in any order you like. Splitting attacks. Units can split their attacks between any number of targets. They can do this when making ranged attacks or melee attacks. When you choose a unit to fight, they can choose which attacks you want to allocate to which targets. In the example to the right, every model in Zandire's Truth Seekers can allocate their melee attacks to the Gut Rippers, but you could also choose to have Tero's attacks be allocated to the Hobgot Slitters. Alright, in today's playthrough, Playthrough 10, Martial Mastery. Zandire's Truth Seekers have arrived to investigate the arcane power found in a temple ruins. However, the Cruel Boys will not give up on the site without a fight. Your battle continues. In this battle, you will cast spells, move, shoot, and fight your way to victory. You win by slaying all your opponent's units. Follow the steps below, starting with deployment, then alternate between the Stormcasts and Cruel Boys turns until one player has secured victory. And this playthrough has, for the Stormcasts, the Knight Arcanum, as well as Zandire's Truth Seekers, and the Cruel Boys have their Swampcalla Shaman, 10 Hobgrots, and 10 Gut Rippers. Deployment. So for deployment, you set them up as shown here. Victory conditions: the battle ends immediately when one player has slain all of their opponent's models, or after each player has had 5 turns. If a player has slain all their opponent's models, they win the game. If neither player has slain all their opponent's models, the game is a draw. Flip the page. We have the War Scrolls for the Knight Arcanum and the full one for Zandire's Truth Seekers. An example of turn 1 for the Stormcasts. War Scrolls for the Swampcalla, the Gut Rippers, and the Hobgrots. And an example for turn 1 for the Cruel Boys. We've got the end of battle rounds, telling you to keep going. Stormcast victory, Cruel Boys victory, and a draw. Alright, that is it for issue number 10. Next issue is the Beast Skewer Killbow. Then issue number 12, the Stormstrike Chariot. Alright, thank you guys so much for joining me today. Feel free to give a like if you care to. Maybe subscribe if you want to watch the next one. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. Bye.